Hello, steady Taurus. As July 10 unfolds, you may begin to notice that something around you feels quieter, yet somehow more certain. Growth rarely announces itself the moment it begins. Like rich soil holding unseen roots after steady rain, much of what you've been nurturing has been developing beneath the surface long before anyone else could recognize it. Your path has never been about rushing toward results. It has been about creating something strong enough to last. And there are signs that your patience is beginning to reveal its shape in the world around you. If you found yourself drawn to this message today, consider that your practical mind may still be measuring progress, while another part of you already senses a shift taking place. You may not have every answer yet, but there is a quiet confidence beginning to replace the constant pressure to push harder. What once felt heavy is no longer asking for more force. Instead, it invites steadiness, trust, and the willingness to believe that not every meaningful change has to arrive with noise. Sometimes the strongest foundations simply become visible after enough seasons have passed. You have carried responsibilities that stretched far beyond what others ever noticed. There were times when you remained dependable while privately questioning how much longer you could keep going. You offered stability during uncertain moments, stayed true to your values when quicker paths tempted others, and continued tending your own field even when the harvest seemed distant. Those experiences were not wasted. Like the slow growth of an ancient oak, every season added strength where it mattered most, even when that strength remained hidden beneath the surface. Now the invitation is different. Rather than asking for more effort, this season gently asks you to soften your grip. That doesn't mean giving up or lowering your standards. It means allowing yourself to trust the rhythm you've already helped create. Financial opportunities may begin to appear through steady recognition instead of dramatic surprises, reflecting the quiet consistency you practice for far longer than most people ever realized. Lasting prosperity often grows this way through roots that deepen before branches reach the light. If slowing down feels unfamiliar, that's understandable. When you spend so much of your life preparing for the next challenge, peace itself can feel almost uncomfortable. Yet this quieter rhythm isn't a sign that you've stopped growing. It may simply be evidence that your nervous system is learning a new definition of security. The desire to spend more time in nature, refresh your surroundings, or seek moments of stillness isn't laziness. It can be a reminder that your inner landscape is making room for a different way of living, one that values presence as much as productivity. As a Venus-ruled Earth sign, you're naturally attuned to beauty that feels genuine and lasting. Notice what restores your senses instead of draining them. Walk beneath old trees, feel the morning air, or let simple comforts remind you that receiving can be just as meaningful as striving. This chapter isn't only about finances becoming steadier. It's about rebuilding your relationship with your own worth, rediscovering a sense of safety, and remembering that the life you've been patiently cultivating was always meant to be lived as well as built. Take a slow breath and allow yourself to settle into that possibility. Taurus, there are moments when the landscape doesn't suddenly transform, yet you realize you've been standing on firmer ground than you knew. Around this point in your journey, you may begin to notice small confirmations that your steady efforts are no longer disappearing into the background. Recognition has a way of arriving quietly before it becomes unmistakable, and the comfort you once postponed for another day may finally feel close enough to reach. What has been growing beneath the surface is beginning to show itself in ways that feel real, practical, and lasting. If something in these words feels familiar, honor that feeling. Leave a comment below and simply write, "I am open to my harvest." Let those words become a gentle reminder that receiving is also part of growth. Sometimes the first step toward abundance is allowing yourself to believe that years of careful tending were never wasted. Stay with this message because what unfolds next reaches far beyond finances. It speaks to rebuilding trust in your own value and rediscovering the quiet confidence that survival often asks us to set aside. When you look back, you may notice that every season carried its own lesson. The moments when you chose integrity over convenience, when you remained patient instead of settling, and when you quietly honored your principles, even without applause, all shaped something far more enduring than immediate success. What others may have mistaken for stubbornness was often your commitment to building a life that could weather changing seasons. Like an old orchard whose deepest roots are invisible, your strength has been developing long before anyone could measure its harvest. Astrologically, Taurus is closely connected with resources, security, and the relationship between self-worth and the physical world. That symbolism suggests this period is not only about what you own, but about how you recognize your own value. As your perspective shifts, opportunities may begin to reflect the standards you've quietly maintained all along. The greatest change isn't simply earning more. It's realizing you no longer have to shrink your expectations to deserve what is steady, meaningful, and well-earned. This isn't the kind of progress that appears overnight or disappears just as quickly. It resembles a vineyard that grows stronger with every passing season, producing fruit because the roots were given time to mature. Consistency has its own rhythm, and while it rarely demands attention, it often creates the most reliable results. Looking back, what once felt painfully slow may reveal itself as the very process that prepared you for something built to last. You may also notice that your relationship with abundance is becoming calmer. Instead of feeling compelled to chase every opportunity or protect every possibility, there is space to trust what has already been cultivated. The kindness you offered when your own reserves felt low, the stability you created during uncertain times, and the care you continued to invest even in difficult seasons all become part of the life you are building. These choices shaped your character long before they shaped your circumstances. That is why this chapter encourages a different response than constant effort. For Taurus, rest is not the opposite of productivity. It could be a quiet expression of confidence. When you allow yourself to pause without guilt, you create room to recognize how much has already changed. The future no longer has to feel like something you are endlessly preparing for. Like a harvest basket gradually filling after months of patient care, you're beginning to experience the steady rewards of a foundation that has been growing stronger all along. Taurus, this part of your journey isn't asking you to prepare for another uphill climb. It feels more like arriving at a table that has been patiently set through seasons of quiet effort. The signs emerging around you suggest that what you've been cultivating is becoming easier to recognize, not because life has suddenly become effortless, but because your steady commitment is beginning to create visible results. There comes a point when growth is no longer measured by how much you can carry, but by how fully you allow yourself to receive what your work has already made possible. Your consistency has always been one of your greatest strengths, even during the times when it seemed unnoticed. Every decision to remain true to your values, every moment you chose patience over shortcuts, helped build a life with deeper roots than you may have realized. Progress has never depended on moving faster than everyone else. More often, it has come from staying connected to what truly matters while others chased quick victories. That quiet devotion has shaped something lasting, and now it deserves to be appreciated instead of endlessly questioned. The invitation before you may feel unfamiliar, because it asks for something very different than constant effort. As an earth sign guided by Venus, you're naturally devoted to building stability, yet that same devotion can make stillness feel uncomfortable. You may wonder if resting means falling behind, but this season suggests another possibility. Perhaps slowing your pace isn't interrupting your growth at all. Perhaps it allows you to notice how much has already taken root beneath the surface. This isn't about giving up your ambition or lowering your standards. It's about recognizing that your value has never depended on remaining in a constant state of proving yourself. There is a quiet confidence that develops when you stop measuring your worth only by what you accomplish. Like a well-tended orchard that no longer requires daily planting to bear fruit, your life may now be asking you to care for what has already begun to flourish instead of constantly searching for the next task. Mentally, this can be a meaningful transition. For a long time, your mind may have acted like a careful planner, always calculating risks. preparing for uncertainty, and searching for ways to stay one step ahead. Those skills served an important purpose, but they don't have to guide every moment now. Imagine allowing that same thoughtful mind to become more like a peaceful garden than a never-ending ledger. Instead of asking what might go wrong next, gently remind yourself, I have built something strong enough to support me. Emotionally, this period may feel surprisingly tender. Sometimes peace itself can feel unfamiliar after years of adapting to pressure, and moments of calm may briefly awaken old habits of expecting something to go wrong. If that happens, notice those feelings with compassion rather than fear. They may simply be echoes of a chapter that no longer defines you. Little by little, contentment can become something you trust instead of something you question. Taurus experiences life through the senses, and that is one of your greatest gifts. The feel of soft fabric, the scent of rain on rich soil, a slow meal shared without hurry, or a quiet walk beneath old trees can all become reminders that beauty is not a distraction from abundance. It is part of it. These simple experiences help reconnect you with the steady rhythm of Venus, inviting you to appreciate what already exists instead of constantly reaching beyond the present moment. Just as a field occasionally rests before producing another healthy harvest, there are times when outward stillness supports unseen renewal. What appears quiet on the surface often hides remarkable growth beneath the soil. Trust that the slower rhythm has its own purpose. By allowing yourself to experience comfort without guilt and joy without apology, you create the inner space where lasting prosperity, deeper security, and genuine fulfillment can continue to grow naturally. Taurus, after a period of learning how to slow down, another layer of growth often begins to reveal itself. The most meaningful changes are not always the ones the world immediately notices. Sometimes they happen quietly as your relationship with security, success, and self-worth starts to evolve from the inside out. Instead of asking, how can I earn more? You may find yourself asking a different question. How can I honor what I already bring to the world? That subtle shift has the power to change far more than your finances. It can reshape the way you move through life. When your attention moves from constantly proving your value to recognizing it, your decisions naturally become calmer, clearer, and more intentional. You begin choosing opportunities because they align with your values, not simply because they promise immediate results. And that quiet change often influences every area of your life. Patterns that once kept you focused on holding everything together may no longer feel as necessary as they once did. If you've noticed yourself craving a simpler environment, wanting to clear unnecessary clutter, or feeling drawn toward a slower pace, consider these experiences as gentle invitations rather than problems to solve. They may reflect your mind and body asking for more spaciousness after carrying responsibility for so long. Growth doesn't always arrive through adding more. Sometimes it begins by creating room for what truly belongs. Letting go of what no longer supports you, whether it's an old habit, an unnecessary obligation, or the expectation that you must always be available to everyone. Create space for something healthier to take root. Just as a garden flourishes when overcrowded branches are carefully pruned, your life can begin to feel lighter when you make room for what genuinely nourishes you. As a Venus-ruled Earth sign, your connection to the physical world is deeply meaningful. Nature has a remarkable way of reminding you that steady growth follows its own rhythm. Spending time in a garden, walking beneath old trees, or simply sitting where you can hear the wind move through the leaves can help restore a sense of balance that constant productivity often interrupts. Nourishing meals prepared with care, seasonal fruits, root vegetables, and foods that leave you feeling grounded become more than daily habits. They become quiet ways of honoring yourself. Even the smallest rituals, like enjoying your morning coffee without rushing or opening a window to let fresh air fill your home, can gently remind your nervous system that peace is something you are allowed to experience, not something you have to earn after exhausting yourself. As your perspective changes, you may also notice that your standards begin to change with it. Certain environments may no longer feel welcoming. Conversations that once seemed acceptable may now leave you feeling drained, and comforts you once overlooked may suddenly feel important. This isn't necessarily becoming difficult to please. It can be a sign that you're learning the difference between settling and choosing what genuinely supports your well-being. Discernment often grows alongside self-respect, and both become part of the foundation you're continuing to build. You may also become more selective about where you invest your time, your energy, and your trust. Rather than seeing these boundaries as walls, you begin recognizing them as healthy roots that allow everything meaningful in your life to grow stronger. Beauty plays a larger role in this process than many people realize. For Taurus, beauty isn't only about appearance. It's about creating an atmosphere where your nervous system can finally relax. A peaceful home, natural textures, meaningful routines, and moments of unhurried enjoyment remind you that abundance isn't measured only by numbers. It is also reflected in the quality of your daily experience. Like the steady rings forming within an ancient oak, lasting growth expands gradually from the center before anyone notices its full strength. In many ways, beauty becomes a quiet language through which your inner world expresses itself. The colors you surround yourself with, the music that calms your thoughts, the warmth of familiar spaces, and the comfort of well-crafted things all reinforce the feeling that your life is becoming more rooted in intention than in urgency. Looking back, there may be moments when you wonder whether your generosity, loyalty, or patience were ever fully appreciated. You may remember giving your time where it wasn't recognized, offering stability during uncertain seasons, or carrying responsibilities that belong to others as much as yourself. Those experiences undoubtedly shaped you, but they do not define your future. From an astrological perspective, Venus represents not only affection but also the exchange of value. This chapter suggests an opportunity to restore balance by recognizing that what you contribute deserves to exist in healthy reciprocity rather than constant sacrifice. As that understanding deepens, you may find yourself naturally drawn toward relationships where appreciation flows in both directions, where support is shared rather than expected from only one person, and where your generosity can exist without quietly depleting your own reserves. Because of that, there is no need to chase validation or force outcomes that are already beginning to unfold at their own pace. The steadier your confidence becomes, the less energy you spend proving your worth to people who cannot see it. Instead, your focus naturally shifts toward nurturing the relationships, environments, and opportunities that reflect the values you spent years cultivating. Like an orchard entering its most fruitful season after many years of careful tending, what is unfolding now is less about sudden fortune than about finally living in harmony with the value that has quietly been growing within you all along. There is a peaceful confidence that develops when you trust the timing of your own growth instead of comparing it with someone else's path. From that place, abundance becomes less about reaching a destination and more about recognizing that the life you've been patiently cultivating is already beginning to reflect the strength, wisdom, and quiet resilience you have carried within you all along. Taurus, there comes a season when you no longer feel the need to keep score. The energy you've invested over the years has already shaped who you are, and that quiet transformation often becomes the foundation for everything that follows. Instead of asking life to repay every disappointment, you may begin to notice opportunities appearing with less resistance than before. What once felt delayed can gradually find its way back through new possibilities, meaningful connections, and a growing sense of stability that cannot easily be shaken. This shift isn't about balancing an invisible ledger. It's about recognizing that every experience, even the ones that seemed unfair at the time, has refined your judgment, strengthened your character, and prepared you to recognize opportunities you might once have overlooked. As your perspective changes, what once felt like waiting begins to reveal itself as preparation. Sometimes the dedication you gave to someone else's vision becomes the experience that prepares you to build something of your own. The patience you offered during uncertain relationships may eventually become the foundation of a home where you truly feel secure. The steady character you've developed through difficult seasons has its own way of opening doors, not because you demanded recognition, but because you became ready to carry greater responsibility. The wisdom of the earth element has always moved this way, slowly, quietly, and with remarkable endurance. Seeds do not question whether they are growing simply because the surface appears unchanged. In much the same way, your efforts have continued shaping your future long before visible results had a chance to emerge. What arrives now often reflects years of unseen preparation rather than a single fortunate moment. One of the most meaningful parts of this journey is that you haven't had to become hardened to grow stronger. Even after disappointment, you've continued to value kindness, reliability, and integrity. Those qualities have protected something within you that success alone could never create. While others may have learned to protect themselves by becoming distant or cynical, you've continued to believe that steadiness still matters. That quiet decision has become one of your greatest strengths. As life becomes steadier, you're likely to appreciate comfort without taking it for granted. Manage your resources with care and create a future that supports not only your own well-being, but also the people you love most. True abundance often feels less like excitement and more like a deep breath you no longer have to hold. As July continues to unfold, you may become more aware of small but meaningful confirmations that you're moving in the right direction. Some people enjoy noticing repeating numbers such as 244 or 888, while others find reassurance in simpler moments. A flourishing garden, an unexpected opportunity, a meaningful conversation, or the feeling that decisions once clouded by uncertainty suddenly seem clearer. You might notice yourself feeling calmer when making financial choices, more selective about where your energy goes, or unexpectedly confident in decisions that once felt overwhelming. Whether you see these experiences as spiritual symbols or simply timely reminders, they can invite you to pause and recognize how much has already begun to change. Often the earliest signs of growth are not dramatic events, but subtle shifts in the way you experience everyday life. Astrologically, Taurus is closely connected with the cultivation of resources, lasting beauty, and the patient work of creating security over time. That symbolism suggests that growth is often measured less by dramatic breakthroughs than by what continues to strengthen season after season. Like fertile soil enriched little by little, your progress becomes more resilient through consistency than through sudden bursts of activity. If new financial opportunities, thoughtful investments, or practical improvements begin appearing, consider them invitations to build wisely rather than quickly. Like a well-tended orchard, what lasts is rarely rushed. Every careful choice you make today has the potential to become part of something much larger tomorrow. It's also natural to wonder whether positive changes will continue. Yet if you look back over your own story, you'll probably notice a pattern that deserves your trust. Every setback taught you something useful. Every rebuilding phase made your foundation stronger than it had been before. Those experiences didn't simply test your resilience. They quietly taught you how to create a life capable of weathering future storms with greater confidence and wisdom. Looking back, you may even recognize that the moments which seemed like detours ultimately redirected you toward opportunities that were better aligned with your values. Your resilience was never only about surviving difficult seasons. It was about learning how to rebuild with greater clarity each time. When greater stability arrives, your first instinct may not be extravagance. More likely, you'll want to create a peaceful home. Invest in quality that stands the test of time and ensure the people you care about feel protected. That response reflects the heart of Taurus energy. Rather than chasing appearances, you're naturally inclined to create environments where people can breathe more easily, gather comfortably, and feel genuinely at home. Abundance becomes most meaningful when it creates lasting comfort rather than temporary display. The greatest luxury for you may simply be knowing that what you've built can continue supporting the people and dreams that matter most. As you notice these small confirmations along the way, try not to overanalyze every detail or rush the process. Instead, allow yourself a simple acknowledgement. I welcome what is growing steadily in my life. Let those words remind you that meaningful change often unfolds through quiet consistency rather than dramatic turning points. Receive each opportunity with gratitude, care for what you build, and share generously whenever it feels right. Like the first harvest gathered after many patient seasons, the greatest rewards are often those that nourish not only your own life, but everyone who gathers around the table you worked so thoughtfully to create. And as that table grows, It becomes more than a symbol of success. It becomes a place where your patience, generosity, and enduring values continue to bear fruit for years to come. Taurus, one of the quietest victories you can experience is realizing that your peace no longer depends on someone else's approval. The moment you begin honoring your own value without asking others to confirm it, something important shifts within you. It may not happen all at once, and it may not be visible to anyone around you, but you'll notice it in the way certain opinions lose their power and old doubts no longer demand your attention. Around this stage of your journey, life may begin to feel a little less like an endless climb and a little more like a landscape that is finally responding to the care you've invested over many seasons. What once felt like constant resistance begins to soften, not because you become someone different overnight, but because you've grown into someone who no longer needs to chase validation. Your energy is no longer devoted to proving yourself. It is becoming available for building the life you've always hoped to create, with greater intention and far less emotional strain. This chapter isn't asking you to push harder. Instead, it invites you to notice what has already been taking root beneath the surface. Like an ancient oak that spends years strengthening its roots before its full canopy appears, your greatest progress may have been quietly unfolding, long before anyone else could recognize it. There are seasons when growth happens in silence, hidden beneath the soil where patience does its most important work. Financial opportunities, greater stability, or meaningful recognition may begin to emerge, not because everything changes overnight, but because your steady dedication has prepared you to recognize and receive them with confidence. Rather than chasing every possibility, you may find yourself naturally drawn toward the opportunities that truly align with the life you've been patiently shaping. Consider this question for a moment. What if your next step isn't doing more, but allowing yourself to trust more? What if the patience, the long evenings of quiet perseverance, and the choices that once felt unnoticed were never lost at all? Every season has added another layer to the person you become, strengthening your judgment as much as your resilience. Even the moments that felt uncertain taught you something about your own capacity to endure with grace. You don't have to carry every burden forever. Sometimes strength is revealed not by how much you continue to hold, but by knowing when it's finally safe to set something down. Trust often grows in that space where effort gives way to confidence and where control gradually makes room for peace. As an earth sign ruled by Venus, you're naturally drawn toward creating comfort, stability, and beauty that can endure. Those qualities are more than preferences. They are part of the way your spirit finds balance in the world. When they begin appearing more consistently in your life, welcome them without guilt. Allow yourself to enjoy moments of peace, to appreciate what you've built, and to recognize that receiving can require just as much trust as striving. There is wisdom in slowing down long enough to notice the warmth of the morning sun, the quiet satisfaction of a well-kept home, or the simple joy of sharing a nourishing meal with people who make you feel safe. The harvest is not only measured by what fills your hands, but also by the calm it brings to your heart and the steadiness it restores to your everyday life. The foundation you've created has always been about more than personal success. It offers you the chance to build a life that protects what matters most, supports the people you love, and reflects the values you'd refused to abandon, even when they were tested. Every season of perseverance has quietly prepared you for this responsibility, teaching you that lasting security is built one thoughtful decision at a time. Like a well-tended orchard that eventually provides shade and nourishment for many, your growth becomes most meaningful when it creates security that extends beyond yourself. The legacy you are shaping is found not only in what you accumulate, but also in the sense of safety, generosity, and stability that others experience in your presence. Take a slow breath and allow yourself to settle into this moment. Let yourself recognize how far you've already come before thinking about how much farther there is to go. If this message resonates with you, share a comment below and simply write, "I welcome steady abundance. I am secure. I continue to build with purpose." Let those words reflect your intention to move forward with patience and confidence, reminding yourself that meaningful progress is often quieter than we expect, yet no less real. If it feels meaningful to you, Place a hand over your heart for a quiet moment of reflection and say, Lord, help me receive each blessing with wisdom, gratitude, and humility. Guide me to use what I build to create peace, generosity, and lasting good. Let this be less about asking for more and more about remaining open to recognizing the gifts already beginning to take shape in your life. May your heart stay steady enough to welcome both growth and gratitude with equal grace. No season of sincere effort is ever truly wasted. Like deep roots strengthening unseen before new branches reach toward the light, your growth has been unfolding long before it became visible. Every quiet choice, every patient step, and every act of faith has become part of a foundation that is stronger than you may have realized. Trust the rhythm, remain grounded, and allow this next chapter to unfold one steady step at a time, knowing that the strongest trees never hurry their seasons, yet they always arrive exactly as they were meant to.